The first lie was small, almost sweet. Sophia told our entire hometown that I'd had a nervous breakdown after Dad died, and that she'd taken me in. Out of the goodness. By the time I saw the GoFundMe titled, "Help Sophia Care for Her Mentally Ill Sister," it had already raised $87. The photo she used was me asleep on her couch after a 20-hour flight from Tokyo, mouth open, hair matted, looking exactly like someone who belonged in a facility. Comments poured in. Poor Sophia. Such a saint. Olivia always was unstable. Prayers for both sisters. I called her from the Amtrak quiet car somewhere outside Philadelphia and asked, calm as winter, why she was crowdfunding my imaginary psychosis. She laughed that velvet laugh that once got us free drinks at the Standard and said, "Liv, sweetie, people want to help. Don't be selfish." Then she hung up. 2 weeks later the same story was in Page 6, then People, then the podcast circuit. By the time I landed back in New York, doors that had been open to me for 35 years slammed shut. Galleries canceled shows. Brands ghosted. My own mother asked if I was taking my meds. Sophia, meanwhile, was booked solid on morning shows in soft pink blazers, dabbing dry eyes with a Kleenex that never actually got wet. I sat in my childhood bedroom in our mother's brownstone, staring at the GoFundMe total ticking toward 200K, and felt something inside me calcify. Then I opened my phone and found a voice memo I'd accidentally left running the night. Sophia got drunk on my rooftop and confessed, crystal clear, that she'd been siphoning Dad's accounts for years and planned to have me declared incompetent, so she could keep every cent of the inheritance. 49 seconds that turned her saint act into a death sentence. And that was the moment I knew, the real revenge begins now. My name is Olivia Quinn, 35. Born and raised between a Greenwich Village townhouse and a Southampton beach cottage that no longer belonged to me. People who haven't seen me in a year say I look like a blade now. Cheekbones that could slice paper. Gray eyes that have forgotten how to blink. Mouth permanently set somewhere between grief and contempt. I used to be the good sister, the painter, the one who sent handwritten thank you notes and remembered birthdays. Sophia was the brilliant one, Columbia Law, youngest partner at her white shoe firm. The daughter who flew in for exactly 45 minutes on Christmas Eve smelling of Tom Ford and other people's money. Dad adored her mind the way other fathers adore touchdowns. He adored me quietly, the way you love something fragile you're afraid to drop. When the cancer came, I quit everything and moved into his Carnegie Hill apartment. I cooked soft foods he couldn't taste, held the bucket when the chemo hit, read him the sports page he was too weak to hold. Sophia sent flowers that arrived already wilting and texts that said, "Thinking of you," with a single red heart. The night he died, she was in Aspen closing a deal. I was holding his hand. The will reading was 3 days later in a mahogany, paneled room on the 57th floor of a midtown tower that smelled like lemon polish and fear. The lawyer's voice cracked when he said the estate, $127 million in liquid assets, the art, the real estate, was placed entirely in a trust controlled by Sophia, for the care and maintenance of Olivia Quinn, who suffers from documented mental health challenges. I laughed out loud, a sound sharp enough to make the lawyer flinch. Sophia reached over and squeezed my knee under the table, nails digging in just enough to bruise. "It's for your own good, Liv," she whispered, loud enough for the room. Dad and I discussed it for months. The lawyer slid a psychiatric evaluation across the table. Signed by a Park Avenue doctor I'd never met, dated 6 months earlier, diagnosing me with bipolar disorder and early-onset dementia. I stared at the signature until the letters swam. She had forged my breakdown before I ever had one. That night I found the voice memo. It was from the previous summer, the night of my birthday rooftop party. I'd left my phone recording on a planter, because I wanted ambient city sounds for a video piece. Sophia had cornered our cousin Miles, drunk on vintage Krug, and spilled everything. How she'd been moving money out of Dad's accounts for 4 years. How the doctor owed her favors after she buried his malpractice suit. How once Dad was gone she'd have me declared incompetent, and put in a nice place upstate where I couldn't embarrass the family. She laughed the way villains do in movies, low delighted, certain no one was listening. 49 seconds. Time-stamped. G-tagged to my own roof. I played it on loop until the sky over the East River turned the color of a healing bruise. Revenge, I decided, would not be loud. It would be biblical. I disappeared. Sublet a windowless loft in Red Hook, under the name of a dead aunt, cut my hair into a jagged black bob, started wearing sunglasses indoors like a paranoid celebrity. I became very good at being invisible in rooms full of people who used to beg for my guest list. Sophia, meanwhile, became America's favorite martyr. She launched the Quinn Foundation for Mental Health Equity, posed on red carpets with celebrities wearing teal ribbons, gave TED Talks about breaking the stigma while caring for a loved one. Every interview ended the same way. My sister is my why. The GoFundMe hit 500,000. Vogue called her the patron saint of difficult siblings. I watched from burner accounts and smiled every time she thanked the village that has wrapped their arms around us. I spent 8 months collecting screenshots, bank records, the name of the doctor who forged the evaluation, emails between Sophia and the trustee showing monthly care payments that went straight into her personal account. I hired a private investigator who used to work white collar for the FBI. He taught me how to clone a phone, how to mirror iClouds, how to make evidence look like it walked in off the street by itself. Every piece was a landmine. The detonator was still the 49-second memo. The explosion was scheduled for the inaugural Quinn Foundation Gala, held in the Temple of Dender room at the Met. 3,000 people in black tie, champagne flutes catching candlelight like liquid stars. Sophia in custom Oscar de la Renta the color of fresh cream, accepting the Humanitarian of the Year award while a string quartet played something by Arvo P. Rott. I was there as catering staff, hair under a cap, eyes lined with exhaustion that didn't need makeup. I'd paid a server triple to swap shifts. No one looks at the help. Sophia took the podium at 9:42 p.m. The lights dimmed for her speech. A video began, montage of her visiting patients, hugging teary mothers, cutting ribbons at treatment centers that didn't exist yet. The final frame, a photo of us at 16, arms around each other on Dad's sailboat with the words, "For Olivia, my heart of my heart." The audience owed in one soft wave. I pressed a single key on the burner phone in my apron pocket. Every screen in the temple, 8 massive panels, went black. Then the audio started. Sophia's voice filling the marble hall like smoke. "Once Dad's gone, I'll have her declared incompetent, put in a nice place upstate where she can't embarrass the family." Her laugh, drunk and cruel. The geo tag flashed, the date, then the forged psych evil, the bank transfers. The emails 49 seconds became 6 minutes of meticulously curated truth. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. I watched Sophia's face cycle through every stage of recognition, confusion, disbelief, terror, until it settled on something ancient and animal. I stepped out from behind the dessert station, pulled off the cap, and walked toward the stage in silence. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Sophia's mouth opened and closed, opened again. No sound came out. I took the microphone from her paralyzed hand. "You told the world I was crazy," I said, voice low enough that every person leaned forward to hear. "Turns out the only illness in our family was you." Then I turned to the audience, senators, anchors, billionaires, all of them now streaming on phones that would never stop ringing. Every dollar donated to the Quinn Foundation went into my sister's personal accounts. Every story she told about saving me was rehearsal for stealing from me. And she put it all on tape. Security tried to move in, but half the room was already standing, shouting questions. Sophia lunged for me, actually lunged, nails out. Like a cornered cat, but 2 detectives I'd met with months earlier stepped from the shadows and caught her wrists. The cuffs clicked like punctuation. I didn't stay for the chaos. I walked out through the Egyptian wing, past the sarcophagi and moonlight on the reflecting pool, and disappeared into Central Park. By sunrise the foundation was dissolved, the money frozen, Sophia's law license suspended pending investigation. The doctor took a plea. The trustee fled to Portugal, and was extradited by lunch. Sophia was arraigned wearing the same cream gown, because no one thought to bring a change of clothes. 6 months later the courts restored every cent, plus damages. I sold the Southampton house, donated the proceeds to actual mental health nonprofits, and moved to a quiet loft in Lisbon where no one has ever heard the name Quinn. Sophia is awaiting trial on 27 counts of fraud, theft, and forgery. Her new address is MDC Brooklyn, cell block C. Sometimes I still get letters forwarded from the prison, same perfumed stationery, same Montblanc pen. She begs, she threatens, she tries to bargain. I send them back unopened, return to sender. Written in red, the 49-second file is gone, deleted, overwritten. Drives smashed and scattered in the Atlantic. Some truths are too lethal to keep, even as trophies. But on nights when the wind moves through the jacaranda trees outside my window, and the city smells like salt and orange blossoms, I swear I can still hear her laugh echoing across an ocean.